Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much TLTers for all that you guys do. Before we start the video though, I would like to take a moment to ask if you're just now discovering this channel to please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so you get notified of every new video that I release. Also, if you are already a subscriber, might I consider asking you to please hit the super thanks button or maybe the join button. And of course, if you don't want to join the channel and support me through the YouTube algorithm, then you can certainly go over to Buy Me a Coffee and make a donation over there as well. Today's video, we're going to be picking up where we left off on the i3 setup video in order to Rice i3. This is for new to Linux users that might be considering on using a window manager. In our first video, we looked at how to install the vanilla Arch with the Arch installer script i3 desktop. Now we're setting up the desktop because once you log in, you have to set it up a little, or not the window manager. You have to log in, and then you have to do where you set up the config file, and then you actually set up the modifier as well. And also going to set the resolution as well in this video. So let's go ahead and dive right on in on that. All right, so we have logged in from our LightDM greeter, and we are now at the actual beginning of the i3 setup. And when you're greeted, the first thing you're greeted with is this first configuration question. There's out of two. There's this one on the configuration file, and then there's one on actually setting up the modifier key. Now, this one is basically what it's trying to do is it's saying that it's going to copy and paste the actual configuration file from the etc folder in your root directory to the actual .conf folder, .config folder in your home directory, so that way the settings that you apply to this configuration file will apply to your specific user only and not globally. If you edit the ones that are in the etc folder, you're editing everything globally. So understand that, and you have to do that with root permissions through, like, you know, sudo vim or nano or whatever. But what we're going to do is we're going to do this one because it makes it so much easier, and it only applies it specifically to you. In your case, you're using desktop. So we're going to hit enter here to accept and move that file over. Now this one here is going to basically write the config, because the other aspect that it needs to write the config with is to decipher what exactly is going to be your modifier key. Now, your modifier key is a key that initiates all of your key bindings, like Windows Shift Q will close the window, Windows Shift, if I set the window key or the super key to that, window and enter will open up your terminal, etc., etc. So you have the choice here to either do window key or super key, or do the alt key as your modifier key. Some other window managers out there use the actual alt key as the modifier key. i3 by nature allows you to choose which one of those you prefer. I like the window key because I'm just used to that, so I'm going to hit enter, and now that file has been written. Okay, now that we've set up our config file and transferred it over from the etc folder, and also assigned our modifier key, now we get to kind of go to work on it now. First things first, as you can tell, the resolution is definitely not 1920 by 1080, which is what your standard, most of your monitors are now. So the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to open up a terminal, which is going to be your modifier key, which, remember, we set it to be the window key or super key. So I'm going to hit that plus enter. That opens up your terminal. Okay, now that that's open, you want to take and you want to type in your command of X Arandr, and then hit enter. This is going to give you all the different, first off, it's going to give you the monitor name right here that you need, and then it's going to give you all the different resolution settings that are available for this monitor right here. So we're going to pick the 1920 by 1080, which we're going to find on the list right here, which is going to be, where are you? Right here. 1920 by 1080, and you have two different refresh rates, which are going to be 60 and 50 that you can choose from. So what you're going to type is, you're going to type in Arandr space dash output, because you got to tell it what monitor to work with, right? The name of the monitor, which is up here, which is the virtual one, space dash mode, and then the resolution rate that you want, which is going to be 1920 by 1080, space dash rate, and then we're going to pick 60, which is going to be 60.0, and then you hit enter. Bam! Now you see our resolution just changed to that. Now understand that when you do this, you're only setting it for this instance that you're using right now. So if you were to log out and log back in, you're going to go right back to the 1280 by 800 resolution that it was set to in the beginning, and that's not going to be desirable. That's the only thing that you need to understand about this. To keep it at that, we're going to have to use well, you don't have to use a tool. You can, but it's kind of, especially if you're using multi-monitor setup, like you have two or more monitors, it makes it a lot easier. Otherwise, you're going to have to hand type this in for each monitor, the resolution rates, also the refresh rate, and the position of where it's at. But there is a tool that makes that a little bit easier and faster and a lot less to have to remember, and that's Arandr, which is a graphical front end for Xrandr. And so we'll use that to write a script that you can actually have run every time you log in. Before we do that, if you notice down here at the bottom where we'll close out of the terminal, down here at the bottom where your status bar is, your i3 status bar, which is what gives you all your notifications. See how that writing is so tiny? We need to address that. And so to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to open up our File Explorer, and then we will actually edit that config file. So this is the first part of setting up i3 that you're going to get familiar with, is editing the config file, because a lot of what you're going to do is like custom keyboardings, executing certain things to run at startup that are part of it. You're going to have to do by editing the config file, because everything has to be told what to do in a window manager, and actually in every Linux. You just don't see it in the background, in the foreground, because it's all done in the background. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the modifier key or the super key and D, and that opens up D menu, which is a launcher that we installed. That was one of the programs when you were installing for additional packages. I typed in D menu to install D menu. You could also install Rofi. That's another launcher that works as well. That's very popular. It's a little bit more customizable than D menu, although D menu is customizable. And in here, you're going to type in Thunar. And as you see it, it's highlighted in blue right here. All this text is so tiny, but it's right here. And we're going to hit enter, and that's going to open up Rofi. Then we're going to go to our .config file. We're going to go to i3, and right here's our config, and we're going to open it with your favorite text editor of choice. I'm just using what is here because it's a plain text editor. And you could use pretty much anything to do that. You can use Vim, Nano, Mousepad, gedit, Kate, whatever. It does that. So right here in the very first part right here, right under here, the modifier key right here that we assigned, the super keys mod 4. I think mod 1 is the alt key, control is like mod 2 or something like that. But you could do a Google search and figure out which ones those are. But this is another way to verify what's your modification key that you set it to. If you want to ever change it, you can just edit this right here to whichever one it is that corresponds with the one that you want to use. Like I said, alt key, if you want to make it that one, it's mod 1. But here in this first one, font for window tiles, and it's also used for the bar below. This is where you want to change it from 8. We're going to change it to say like, oh, let's do 11, right? So we're going to hit backspace, type in 11. You're going to hit save, okay? And now that it's saved, it didn't change it. Well, that's because you have to reload the actual config file. To do that in your standard vanilla i3 desktop setup that hasn't been modified in any way, shape, or form, if it's a regular, initial config file, all you got to do is hit the modifier key, shift, and the C button. And as you can see, the font just got bigger. Now, if I hit to pull up D menu, it's a little bit more spread out, and it's not much bigger at all because you have to change that in the actual D menu settings. But the Windows one is bigger. The Windows text is bigger, so that is what that changes. So now that we made that bigger, now you can see things a little bit better, see what workspace you're on, that kind of stuff. You're good to go. So now you can just simply hit Windows Shift Q or modifier Shift Q, and it closes out those windows. And now here we are. So now, in order to write the script that will set the resolution at startup, whenever you boot into your i3 window manager, you're going to want to use this to write it is Arandr. Like I said, it makes it a lot easier, and it's also a front-end graphical user interface that makes it easy to set it up and lay it out the way you want it, as we'll see here in a minute. And it's a lot easier for newer to Linux users to use. So we're going to go ahead and open up Arandr and do that. So Arandr is not installed, and just to show you, it's not installed. So we have to install it. So to install Arandr, you want to open up your terminal, and you want to type in sudo pacman, space, pacman -sy, and then Arandr. Going to hit enter, put in your password, and it's going to do this, and then I'm going to hit yes to install, and when it's done, I'll go ahead and resume the video. Close our terminal. Now when I hit the modifier key and D for D menu and type in Arandr, there it is. So we're going to hit that, and we're going to open it up, and this is what Arandr looks like. It's like I said, it's a graphical user interface. Now, if you had another monitor, it'd be right next to here, and it'd have the name of it. Also, if you had another one, it'd be over here, and it'd have the name of it. And you can have as many monitors. It'll detect all your monitors. You can have 4, 5, 6. And all you do is you just simply drag and drop them to wherever you want them to be in the position. And that's how you could set them up to be on the right side of one, or above, or down, or whatever. And then what you do is once you right click on it, here you can set your resolution to whatever, even orientation. But once you get them all laid out and set up the way you want it, and you're ready to write this, have it to write this script, all you do is you right click on here, open this up, and it's going to open up, not right click, sorry, left click, and then it opens up this dialog box, which is going to leave, like right here is current res session, right? Is one that I already have that I've saved on here. Okay. So, and as you notice down below, it saves it as a shell file script right here. See that shell script? So what you do is you name it, like this one is current res session, and then you hit save, and it's going to save it to the dot screen layout folder in your config file. So that saves all your monitor layouts and all that good stuff, and it's all done. And it puts it in the position where you put it, the different refresh rates that you want it at, and the actual resolutions that you want it at. All done. You don't have to type anything out. So there is a way to write a quick monitor resolution script that you can run on boot up. And the way to get it to run on boot up is what we're going to look at next. So you're going to hit save, which I don't need to worry about because it's already there. And it'll save it to that. And now you just back out of that. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at that file. So when you do, now we're going to hit our D and then Thunar. You're going to open up Thunar. And then you're going to actually go into your config file. Oh, sorry. My bad. The .screen layout, which is in your home folder. You're going to open that up, and here's your current res session. You're going to open it with, you could open it with Vim, which is installed, or mousepad. I'm going to hit mousepad real quick. And here's what it does. As you can see, it, like I said, it writes an actual shell script, which is got the shebang, and then it's got this line of code right here, which is going to tell it to output the virtual monitor 1. It's the primary, set it as the primary monitor. The mode's going to be the 1920 by 1080. Position is 0.0, so it even tells us the position of the layout. And then the rotation is going to be, or orientation is going to be normal. And it's going to keep it there. Now, if you want to add a rate, then you could do -- rate, and then 60 or whatever. You don't technically have to put a rate in, but if you want to specify a higher resolution rate or a refresh rate, then you can do that by typing that in there. And then it saves it right there, so it's all done for you. Now, if say I had another monitor to the left, then there would be another line added on here where it would have that monitor's information and so forth and so on for as many monitors as you assigned it, and the positions of where you wanted to put them. So that is a look at the script file that you just generated. So now that you have that script file generated, and you need to make it part of the auto startup for your resolution to take place in i3, you have to run it at the startup. Now you could do it by putting it in the auto start folder and pointing to that script in the auto start. Or you can just leave it there because it's in a .config, it's in your home folder, so you can run it at a user level. As long as it's not in a root folder, you can run it anywhere that it's at on your computer. So what you want to do for that is you want to edit your i3 config file to make that happen. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do that here in just 1 second. The #, and then I do a auto start. We all know typing is not my forte. I'm in old sections it off, and it keeps it neat and easy to read and understand, and also it lets you know that in this section here is where all your auto start programs that you're going to boot, to do on boot are going to be located at. So if you want to modify them, change them, maybe add some flags, whatever you want to do, you can go right to the section, and that's where everything's at. And then what you're going to do is you're going to type exec no - startup. Dang it. Startup -ID / and then now you're going to put the path to your .sh file. And a quick and easy way to do that, outside of just basically remembering it, is use your your address bar for your file manager. You can just copy and paste it right in there, and then at the very end you do your current, which I misspelled by the way, CURENT, no, not two E's, res.sh. And that's it. So now all you do is you can hit Control S, usually on any of your text editors, or you could hit Save. But I'm just going to hit Control S because the idea of a actual window manager is to start using keyboard shortcuts. I mean, you could use a mouse in them, but really to improve your workflow, you could do keyboard shortcuts, and it makes it a lot faster and saves a lot more time, and also it gives you less carpal tunnel, so to speak, in your wrist for using your mouse. So try to use as many keyboard shortcuts as you can. If you're still not feel comfortable with it or you can't remember, then by all means use a mouse. It's not a big deal. No shame in that game. And so now you hit the Window, Shift, and C, and you reload your script, and now those changes are applied. But the true way to test it is to hit your Window Shift Q to close your windows. Then you're going to hit Window Shift E for exit. We're going to log out, and then we're going to log back in, and voila, there you go. It reloaded our resolution and the refresh rate automatically right there. And the way you could tell is by open up your terminal, right? And then type in Arandr. Oh, once again, there we go. And as you can see right here highlighted in this line, you are at 1920 by 1080 at 60 gigahertz is your refresh rate. So that is how you can set up for your i3 window manager to launch the resolution and the refresh rate that you desire at startup. We've set the resolution rate, installed Arandr, and used it to write a script to position our monitors the way we want it, the refresh rates, and the resolutions that we wanted. We got it to launch it automatically at startup. We also adjusted the text size in the i3 status bar. So we've done a lot so far. In the next one, we're going to actually start working on doing a little bit of ricing and drawing a wallpaper. So that's what we're going to look forward to in the next video. Tell me, guys, what you think. Tell me if you guys have any questions or comments. Please leave them down below. Also, don't forget to thumbs up the video, please. It only helps me out in the YouTube algorithm. And, of course, as always, I want you guys to continue doing what you guys do. Keep on Linuxing. Stay blessed. Have a great day, and I will see you in the very next one. Bye.